Hey, this is Tracy Lewis with Stuff and Things with episode 3 of my Dandy Laser Paper series. These were the previous videos projects. As I said, when I made these using them as masks, I had placed them over basic white and sponged, and I ended up with the negatives, trimmed those down, and made those into cards, and that is what I'm going to share with you today. So again, we're working with Pretty Perennials and Biggest Wish, which are 2 sentiment sets that I bought because they are very large sentiments, which I am not normally a fan of, and I thought it would be time for me to work with large sentiments, and so far I'm having a great time with them. The first project that I will share uses Biggest Wish, and you'll see that when I was doing the negative, I did not adhere it because I wanted to do a full over cover and I wanted the white border to show. So I went ahead and trimmed it down so that some of the outside edges showed. I can see, I don't know if you can see it, but a little bit of my mask did move here and there, but I kind of like the effect of it. And I cut again using the rainbow glimmer paper, but you could also use the new ombre specialty paper to add more colors to your color palette. I was able to knot this bow. It wasn't a single, double, or triple, so I mean it was just a single, so I didn't have to use the Bow Easy tool, which may or may not have a video already loaded, because I promised that I would share with you how you use that tool. And I'm really happy with how my stamping came out. I did use Coastal Cabana for the stamping and Gorgeous Grape. Trimmed down. So my trick was, with the rectangle dies, the width of the rectangle die goes out maybe another 1/4 of an inch. So I used the trick. You can see maybe where my cuts trimmed down. It actually was a little bit taller and a little bit wider, so a 1/4 of an inch all four on the top and sides. And then I brought in, and you can see that I recut it to get it down to this exact size that I needed. So that is a really good tip to remember when you're using die cuts, that if they don't have the exact size that you want, you can just go ahead and bring them in and recut. And if it's stitched, you'll get a little bit of an overlap there with the stitching, but unless I point it out, you're never going to notice it. And then I just finished it off. I went ahead and did 2 layers of dimensionals, and I finished it off with pearls. So the next one, now I had to change it up completely. So this was the negative. I already showed you the Pretty Perennials, which the Pretty Perennials is the sentiment set that I used. I used the Happy and the Birthday. It comes with these die cuts, and it's a fairly new set for me. This actually is going to be a saying goodbye, because Pretty Perennials, as far as I know, is not carrying over. I actually need to research that to be sure, so I could be wrong. But I really love the dies and have used the flower and the words a couple of times. Love it. It actually coordinates, listen to me, new word, coordinates with Blossoms in Blooms, which is yet another really fancy floral stamp and die set. And here is what I came up with. Right here, I went ahead and stamped Happy directly on the negative that I made. Birthday, I popped up and made it a little flag. It is stamped in, both are done in the Coastal Cabana. It has Coastal Cabana as a layer. I went ahead and did jaunty angles. Remember, the whole exercise with working with these laser papers is to deal with the fact that dimensionally it is not in proportion to the A2. It's actually taller and skinnier. So every one of these projects, this is the 4th and 5th projects I've shared, everything is either offset or at an angle, so that you don't notice that the paper dimensions are not exactly A2 size. And then I just created a couple of flower layers, and then used the glimmer paper, little bits, little snippets I had left. I went ahead and I loved the trick of leaving in some of the insets. So on the on the leaves, because the flowers are solids, I went ahead and left a lot of the pieces of the leaves in to give it the same weight of solidness that the 3 flowers have. And I think this came out great. This is a 3 loop bow that I did use the Bow Easy for, so that it could be nice and fluffy, and it fit perfectly nestled in the middle here, just barely hiding some of the flower elements. And then I just used 3 pearls, and I suppose I could add like another pearl up here and down here maybe, but as it is, it's a pretty busy card, and I think it stands the way it is just fine. That's all I've got. That concludes my work with the Dandy laser paper. And I will tell you that all of the laser papers that come out are cut to these dimensions. So it's not, this exercise of working with these did not just apply to this particular set. You will be able to take the tips that I have and use them on any of the laser cut papers that Stampin' Up! Comes up with, because they always make them a little bit taller and a little bit skinnier, probably to get the most out of the paper that they can. Let me know what you think of these 2 cards. Let me know what you think of my fun colors. I really enjoyed working with them. They're definitely, I would say, on the feminine side, so I don't have a lot of girls in the family, but they will go in my stash and I will find uses for them. That's all I got. Please leave your questions, comments, and suggestions here on my video or over on my blog. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.